Hey, welcome back to Business 150, Introduction to Management. And we are now in module number 7. Module number 7 has to do with the whole topic of managerial decision making. How do managers make the call? How do managers issue decisions? How do they arrive at decisions? What is a rational process for this? How do things really work in the real world and in the contemporary setting? What role does group decision making have to do in the entire process? And so these are the kinds of things we're going to talk about in module number 7. In this very first video of the module, what we're looking at is, as you can see from this title slide, the importance of decision making. I thought it would be useful for us to begin our discussion just emphasizing the crucial role that decision making has in the life of managers. Managers are given the role of decision maker. They are granted the license, the authority, the latitude, and the responsibility of making decisions on behalf of their team, on behalf of the organization. And this is a very weighty burden placed upon the shoulders of managers. We hope that when we finish this video, you will be able to define decision making and describe the benefits that crisp, decisive decision making brings to an organization. So that's really where we are going with this video. Let's get started. The essence of decision making. The essence of decision making, well, we can define decision making as the process of choosing among alternative courses of action to resolve a problem. What's the salient point here? There's a problem, there's a challenge, there is something that needs solving, and therefore managers make the decision. We choose among alternative courses of action the proper and best resolution to a particular problem. Now, as you can see here on the slide, most decisions can be classified in one of two ways. They can either be classified as programmed decisions or non-programmed decisions. A programmed decision can be described as a decision that's made in response to situations that are routine, structured, and repetitive. We can think of thousands of examples of these kinds of things, right? Like, so for instance, let's say that you manage a crew of people in a retail store. Then on a weekly basis, someone has to make the decision where to assign particular people in the normal staffing schedule. Someone makes that decision, and that decision is routine, structured, and repetitive. These are the kinds of decisions that are programmed, as we describe it here on the slide, and that you can set up a great deal of routine structure and framework to manage these kinds of decisions. However, the really interesting decisions in business are what we call non-programmed decisions. And as you can see here, those are decisions that are unique, that are unstructured, undefined, sometimes completely unplanned. We encounter circumstances, events, a challenge, a problem, an emergency of some form of major consequence to the organization, and that calls for a non-programmed decision. Those are generally the two types that we're talking about here. And one of the things that we take into account in both programmed and non-programmed decisions is the level or the degree of uncertainty. Certainly, there are some decisions we make under conditions of certainty. Those aren't that many of them, quite frankly, though. Most of them will have some degree of risk, and then sometimes it's just all an out uncertainty, which will exert a significant effect on our decision-making and the decision-making process. Now, as we consider this variety of types of circumstances in which you as a manager will make a decision, let's just get down to brass tacks and remind each other making decisions is a function of the managerial role. It's why you were hired. It's why you were promoted. It's why you've been entrusted with that particular job title. And quite frankly, your people, the people you manage, the people you lead, your peeps are waiting for you to make the call. And they are watching you. They're watching to see you in the midst of making the call, your degree of intelligence and wisdom, which by the way are two different things, your resolve, your ability to pick a path and commit to it, and they'll be very interested in trying to get a sense of what factors you typically take into consideration at arriving at your decision. Never have managers led by example more than in how they arrive at decisions. And in this, what's required is a true sense of crisp decisiveness. You see, as you can see here on the slide, decisiveness portrays confidence, the ease and comfort that is perceived by others that you have. That's a proxy, that's a view, that's a barometer they use to get a sense of your level of confidence. Confidence is perceived by most people as a proxy, as an indicator, as a substitute for competence. They judge your competence by how confident you are. In this, you must make decisions, and quite frankly, you simply can't afford to be indecisive. You can't afford to waffle. You can't ping pong. You have to do your due diligence, do your research, weigh the evidence, and then you have to commit. I was told a long time ago during my very, very first managerial promotion, my boss told me one of the things that leaders can't do is they can't hesitate. They can't waffle. They can't afford to be seen as indecisive by their people because their people then lose respect for them. Quite frankly, you got to make a decision, and not all your decisions are going to end up to be the right ones. I mean, they may appear that way when you start out and make the decision, only time will tell whether you made the right call. When your decisions end up with bad results, don't blame others. Nobody likes to work with someone who blames others when things go wrong. Own it, take responsibility, be accountable for the results of a poor decision you made or a not so poor decision that just ended up with bad results, and clean up the mess. You're called to clean up the mess and you move on. And quite frankly, if you can demonstrate comfort with occasionally making the wrong call, it takes the pressure off everyone. It allows them the latitude, the clearance that occasionally they're okay making the wrong call as well. It just means they're human. It just means we're all human. We will occasionally make the wrong decision. Just take ownership for it and clean up the mess. So, we hope that as you consider these kinds of things, and as we start out Module 7, you will have a working definition for decision making, as well as keep in mind all of the kinds of benefits that accrue to you and your people when you demonstrate crisp, sound decision making. Yes, you will make mistakes and you will make the wrong call, and so will I. What does that mean? It just means we're human beings. No one is perfect all of the time. What's really crucial is how do you respond when you end up with a bucket full of bad results? The best advice I can give anyone is own it, fix it, and clean up the mess. Well, we hope that's helpful. Just as we kick off this module, module number 7 on decision making, we will see you in the next lecture.